Why in the world is everyone talking about this new Netflix movie called Nimona? It seems that 2022 is a year for animated movies. Now there will be spoilers for the movie Nimona in this video, just a quick warning. Anyways, going back to the movie, I had no idea there would be LGBT elements in this film. But even then, the story comes up with new ways to talk about tough subject matters without using obvious terminology. This is a simple movie about overcoming obstacles. The characters aren't stupidly annoying stereotypes, and you can actually rewatch this film. Throughout Nimona, we see the characters actually struggling to find their purpose and longing for acceptance. Many of them questioning the system they have sworn to protect, while others were adhering to mob mentality that would unfortunately accompany some characteristics of the people. Basically a herd mindset. You'll see more of this later in this video. This is my favorite scene from this movie, and it's literally just a statue. I like the composition, I like the layout, I like the design. Seriously, this woman is badass. This is freaking epic. Another plus side about this movie is the actual movement. It's fluid and looks really cool. They added a lot of attention to detail with the finger twirls, which they could have easily overlooked to save time, but I can tell that some effort was put into this.
Who has four thumbs and is great at distractions?
Now here's where the problems resurface. This movie was supposed to come out a long time ago. However, there were problems even before this release. See, if you're a normie like myself, I had no idea about the drama, about Blue Sky Studios and Disney. I had no idea about any of this until I looked into it. This movie was fighting to have a chance, but I am grateful that this writer at least got their story out. Let's get into the actual movie. We're introduced to Ballister, someone who's been training since they were little to one day become great, graduating at the top of his class. As I'm watching this movie, I notice the medieval themes, but seconds later I see people on a damn iPad. Like you guys are wearing ancient armor and swords, yet in the next scene I see you scrolling on social media. I mean seriously, instead of using a sword, shouldn't they have better weapons like galactic guns and super technology? But aside from all of that, I still think that this is a cool idea. Here's why. This is not a generic story, and the fact that this is not generic already puts a check mark in my book. You say, well, why are you giving it points for that? See, I love when writers add things in that we haven't seen before. How many of you guys are tired of just seeing the same formula over and over again? People just stick to one little box. They make a movie and they put their characters in one box. But with Nimona, we see that the writers are actually morphing things together. The very definition of creative is doing something that is not dull. Anyways, back to Ballister. We see that he wants to be accepted and needs approval, training very hard to achieve his goals. And we're greeted by his partner, Ambrosius. Now early on in this film, the romance caught me off guard. I mean, guys, this is ridiculous. Premarital hand-holding. Now onto the jock stereotype, Todd, who is ironically my favorite character of this film because he reaches levels of Patrick Starr's stupidity. His remarks just had me laughing, and watching him as an antagonist made it so much more fun to watch. Fun fact about me, whenever I watch animated films, I love the villains, I love the antagonists. I just love people who shake it up, especially that Hal guy. What's weird though is that when Todd insults Ballister, everyone just laughs. Like, you're telling me that grown adults would laugh at such a childish remark?
Everybody, Ballister thought I was gonna apologize for treating him like the trash that he is.
Wow, this movie's really making me not like the people of this city already. In fact, I'd just tell Ballister to get out of there if he could, and move away. These people aren't even worth his time. Look, you don't have to bully someone directly to be a part of the problem. If you're laughing at jokes that are of the expense of others, still kind of douchey. Anyways, we see that Ballister actually gets the opportunity of a lifetime. But let's just say things went wrong like a prank from 2018. Seriously though, the thing I appreciate about this movie is the realism and graphic imagery. We need more of that in animated films. Oh, but Kolobi, why say that? It's supposed to be for kids. I mean, we don't need to see. No. Animation is not just for kids, it's for all ages. It didn't even start out being targeted to kids. Look it up. And this experimental shift from the basic standard of where characters can't even be hurt and no blood and no gore makes these films more enjoyable as an adult. We need to see more graphic imagery. This reminds me of the old days of Hayao Miyazaki, where his films would show people's limbs flying off. Characters dying, characters experiencing loss, depression. These are real things that adults have to deal with, and to see it in a film is amazing. I mean, the guy's arm was straight up taken away from him, leaving him disabled. Which is another great point I have to add for this movie, because as human beings, we take everything for granted, yet when we get injured, now it's like, okay, I realize how much I've been taking things for granted. Also, crazy that this dude's lover just mauled him like that. Now, later in the film, they explain the reasoning is because the knights are trained to do this. Bruh. However, am I the only one that would just say, F the system, I'm not gonna hurt someone I love just because I read it out of a book? Look, you could train me 12 hours a day, I could swear to protect the queen, but you're telling me I have to slice the arm of my lover? My goodness. Granted, Ballister did do something perceived to be horrific, but even in this case, I still think that I would just freeze and not just jump to cutting someone's arm off. Like, wouldn't it make sense to actually get to the bottom of what's happening? Isn't that what they teach people in law enforcement instead of rushing into things? Anyways, everyone hates him, and we're introduced to Nimona, who loves mischief. She can shapeshift. I was honestly worried about this character being annoying and just being the comic relief character, but thankfully she has some backstory that explains why she acts the way that she does. So these two go on this epic adventure with fast-paced chase scenes. Not as fast-paced as Mario now, where you couldn't even get a second to breathe. Bro is back.
You knew him better than anyone, bro.
I tried to stop him, bro.
And I think I'm gonna start calling Todd bro instead of his actual name, because that seems to be the only word in his vocabulary. Throughout Nimona's life, she was looked at as a monster. Except this wasn't always the case. See, back in the day when she was little, she had a friend. We get this crazy montage of the characters just having fun together. I love these moments in movies. No dialogue, just simple fun. Some of the best moments I've had in my life with my ex-girlfriend were the cute moments, okay? There was one time I just picked her up and we just started jumping around the apartment and just dancing like we were 10 years old, man. As an adult, my childhood is long over, but moments like that bring that humanity back. It makes you feel like a human, and just to see these montages really makes you think. Unfortunately, the people of the village weren't fond of her friend, and unfortunately, they burned down their own village in an accident. Now, I didn't expect Glorith to turn on her like this. This scene actually gave me some chills. Another thing that I wrote down in my notes while watching this movie is that Nimona no longer has long hair. When she grew older, she cut that thing off. Why? The constant barrage of unacceptance causes Nimona to lose it, lashing out on the very people she wanted to be a part of. A bunch of twists happens and the city is in danger. I'm talking Thanos levels of danger. Bro is just following orders, even though we see the lover of Ballister kind of questioning things near the end of the movie. It took some time to get here, don't get me wrong, but even he's questioning things. Now here's where things go crazy. As the film is about to end, we see these two characters kiss. I actually timed this kiss on my cellular device. It lasts for 3 seconds. This is gay. Nimona is way better than Strange World. I know that sounds shocking, but Nimona is a movie that I can actually rewatch. Strange World, on the other hand, I will never touch that ever again. Which is ironic because Strange World technically should be the movie that I enjoy because of the visuals, the lack of cell shading, that traditional 3D look. Even with my nitpicks of the cell shading in Nimona, I still choose Nimona over Strange World because Nimona's story was actually a story. Strange World was just all over the place. I really did not enjoy that movie. I really didn't. I'm sorry if this steps on any toes, but it is what it is. If you asked me to rate this movie, I'd give it a B-. The cell shading turned me off due to my personal taste. However, the story was not generic, and the fact that the movie fought to be seen, fought to have a chance, that sounds like what Ballister went through. The story wrote itself. I have a dream one day to make my own independent animated movie. So if you want to support me, go ahead and become a patron. One thing about me is I'm also a 3D animator, a 3D producer, writer. Anyways, thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this video. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. I got some more cool animated videos coming up here shortly. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys later.